school VP says you can take us to court, and my father did. This incident took place in India, in the early 90s. The school where my sister and I had studied was in my hometown. We knew almost all the teachers since they were practically our neighbors. When it came to the time I graduated from school, the principal had retired and the vice principal took over as the principal. The vice principal was also from the same town and for some unknown reason had some sort of grudge against my father. In local gatherings etc. he would always try to belittle my father at all chances he could get. My father would normally let it pass since he knows that getting into silly arguments with such a bully is totally unproductive. When my sister and I had joined the school, my father was required to pay a refundable deposit of 5,000 per child, which would be returned back at the time each child graduated from the school. 10,000 rupees of 90s was a large amount then and is equivalent to 95,000 rupees of the present time. I graduated in 1989. When my father inquired about the refund, the VP had informed him that since my sister would be graduating in 1 year's time, both the deposits would be returned together. So, when my sister graduated from school, my father requested the school to refund both the deposits. There was no response even after 2 weeks, and my father personally went to the school to demand the refund. The VP, being the egotistical bully, started arguing with my father, stating that the school can't refund the deposits. The argument became very heated and he outright refused point blank and said, "We are not returning the deposits. Do what you can. You can take us to court if you want." My father went silent, got up and left the school, came home, sat down with mom, went through all the school-related documents she had kept. My mom had a very meticulous documentation system. She used to save every receipt, bill, stub etc. He found the receipts for the deposits. He took them to his lawyer friend. My dad informed his friends, whose children were in the same school, about the issue. The lawyer filed the case and took the school to court. The school couldn't provide any reason for withholding the deposits and fighting with the parent. My dad won. The school was instructed to pay back the deposits with interest and the court dues. My father's friends who were in the PTA took up the issue in the subsequent PTA meeting and got the school's trustee board to ensure that such issues won't be dealt with in the same manner and all deposits will be refunded in time, and strictly warned the VP not to bring personal grudges into school business. Other parents who were owed deposits but had forgotten about it, starts claiming them. Cost the school a lot to pay back the deposits. The cheerleaders can break dress code because they're school uniforms? Guess I'm wearing mine. Someone's story about their friend wearing a skirt to school and getting bloomers reminded me of my own malicious compliance in high school. Way back in 2013 I was a sophomore in high school, and there was a tradition that on Fridays, the cheerleaders, football players, without their pads of course, band members, and the other groups performing wore their uniforms to class. This wasn't a written tradition, and only the cheerleaders and dance teams' uniforms broke dress code. Nobody really batted an eye to it. I wasn't a skirt person, but I like dresses once in a while, sorry. As one can tell by my user, I grew up in Texas, and it's still significantly hot in August/September. So one time while wearing a casual sundress in September, I was pulled out of class and reprimanded because the end of my dress was 4 inches above the knee, when the dress code said no shorter than 2. I pointed out the cheerleaders and dance teams' uniforms every Friday and how they reached mid-thigh at their longest, but was told that was okay because students can wear official school uniforms, and was sent home to change. Clearly, somehow someone had forgotten I was on the golf team. Immediately my mind was turning to the next Friday. The school had recently upgraded the golf team uniforms the year prior, and the girls' team uniforms consisted of a short-sleeve colored polo shirt, and a skirt. If you don't know what a skirt is, it's essentially a skirt and short shorts combined. It looks like a skirt, but they essentially act like built-in bike shorts, and these were short, I'd argue shorter than the average cheerleader skirt. So that next Friday, about 3 days later, To my parents' surprise, I was ready to go that morning in my golf uniform, as compared to taking a bag to keep the clothes in to change into after school. But I just said Fridays, we can wear our uniforms to class, and they accepted without question and took me to school. Well, by second period, I was sent to the office yet again, and the first thing the assistant principal asked me was why I would deliberately disobey her right after our last conversation and threatened in school suspension. I'll never get anywhere in life by not listening, yada yada yada. When I finally had a chance to get a word in, I said, but this is my school golf uniform, and I pointed to our school's logo that was sewn into my polo shirt. You said students can wear official school uniforms to class. Why are the cheerleader uniforms okay and mine isn't? This isn't even a skirt, it's a skirt, it has pants. I still remember how pissed off she was. She stared me down for what seemed like a millennia. Then she snapped and told me to get out of her office, and go sit in the lobby area. That I knew what she meant, and she would be calling my parents about this blatant disrespect. So I waited and played on my iPod and chatted with the nice secretary, trying to keep myself distracted, because in reality I had been really trying not to cry. I had massive anxiety when it came to authority, but I still had my naive sense of injustice, and I didn't just want to let this go. After about 20 minutes, she popped her head out and in a very monotone voice, told me I could go back to class and to let teachers know I had gotten permission from the front office to wear my uniform. Then she went back in and closed the door before I could even think to respond. I spent the rest of my day dealing with teachers questioning me about my outfit and one or two calling the front office to double-check my claim that I had in fact gotten permission, and went to practice after school as normal before being carpooled back home. My dad met me at the front door with a small smirk, and I asked him what in the world happened because I knew he was the go-to contact for my school, so I knew she called him. He explained that when she called and tried to get him to come to the school and get me and talked about punishments for my insubordination, he immediately began to argue with her and admitted he raised his voice quite a bit, asking why I wasn't allowed to wear my sport uniform that the school provided to me as a dress requirement at my golf practice, and mentioned taking this all the way to the school board and resolving this obvious favoritism. He then asked me not to do that again, but that he was proud of me, and told me I know I had told you never to start a fight, but to always fight back. I always thought physically, but UDATMN sure took the advice. Edit, I'm sorry for hurting my fellow 20-somethings with the reminder that 2013 was 8 years ago, please don't look for grey hairs in the mirror for too long. Edit 2, an even deeper apology for my 30 to 60-year-olds who I offended even further with my edit. Edit 3, I do actually need to clear something up. The band did not wear those heavy wool uniforms to school, they had their own custom shirt/nice pants combo. The directors were apparently really strict about all the band kids wearing every Friday. Also sorry to my 30-year-olds for grouping that age range, sorry to my 60+ for not mentioning it, those responsible for sacking those who are responsible for the edits have been sacked. Do it my way, but, just do it my way. Okay, have fun with a flooded basement. This happened a few years ago right after my really good neighbor moved out and the new SHT family moved in. It was a Saturday and I saw the new neighbors working on their backyard. I hadn't really had the opportunity to introduce myself, so I went over and said hello. They were digging a pit to put in a plastic rainwater collection thing to water their vegetable garden with. Me being nice, I offered to help and spend a really nice day digging a pit and laying some cement for the tank to rest on. Well, I noticed two things and tried to bring it up. They did not put in any removable mesh through the main collection pipe, meaning if it gets clogged it's going to be a to clean out. There was no overflow line from the tank. The thing is, it would have been an easy fix, maybe 45 extra min. I tried to bring it up and I told them you might want to put in some mesh and an overflow. I was shut down right away. Like they said it's fine. I said, but you're going to over. I was cut off right away with just do it my way. I want it done my way. If you don't like it, leave. So I said okay, have a nice day, and left. About a month later, after heavy rain, guess what it filled up? Then the intake pipe filled up, the water collected and spilled through the basement window, flooding the basement, and I mean seriously flooding at least a solid foot of water. So yeah, maybe listen to the girl that went to university for engineering. They had to pump the basement, dig up the tank and add an overflow pipe. Since then they have hated me.